Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbale in Abuja. Let's begin tonight by letting you into the world of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. The war within, that's perhaps one way to describe what is going on in the People's Democratic Party. Anger and reactions to the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, and his choice of a running mate, which has caused a lot of issues. Some leaders of the party are working behind the scenes to see that the governor of Rivers State is appeased. Earlier in the week, I had a conversation with the governor of Benue State, who is a very good friend and ally to the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike. And these are some of the issues he raised as to the situation of things in the party.
When the party set up a committee, which it was initiated by the candidate himself, and said that, look, we should help him to advise him on who will be the vice president of the party. 17 of us, we met, and 14 members of that committee, from stakeholders of the party, from National Working Committee, from Governors Forum, from former Governors Forum, from former Ministers Forum, all of us came together. 14 out of 17 said that for the party to move forward, it should be Wike. But unfortunately, for some of us, the vice presidency was zoned to someone else, based on the decision of the candidate himself. My concern is that the overtures have not gone out enough to see how we can sort these things out. Like I said earlier, all that was needed, even before the pronouncement, after we did our recommendation, Wike would have been reached up to. He's a human being.
Well, the PDP Board of Trustees say that Mr. Atiku Abubakar will lead the effort to meet with Governor Nyesom Wike. The BOT is appealing to members of the party not to leave the party at this point. The Board of Trustees, in a statement earlier today, say, quote, "We must come together and unite ourselves as earlier established by our founding fathers. We should therefore shun any bad comment aimed at dividing us. We must be ready to forget and forgive ourselves by encouraging Nigerians to continue to support us and our party," end of quote. That's attributed to the Board of Trustees of the PDP today. Now, with all of the issues that are happening in the party, the race has not even started yet, and it does look like the house is caving in on the PDP. The roof looks so much to have since fled over the house. How can the center hold when there is fire on the mountain and everybody seems to be on the run? The candidate of the PDP is not in the country at the moment, as we understand that he's doing some consultation. Well, some governors and some leaders of the party, we understand, were in Turkey. What was happening? What was the Turkey agenda? What we were used to is the Dubai agenda. Well, what exactly is going on in the PDP? Let's get some insight into all of this. A few issues I'd like to show you also so that we can bring perspective into the conversation. I'm being joined by Chief Segun Showumi, a former spokesperson of the PDP presidential campaign in 2019 and a factional governorship candidate of the PDP in Ogun State. Thank you so much, Otumba Showumi, for coming on.
It's nice to see you, Sean.
All right, thank you so much. Let's begin the conversation. You heard what Governor Autumn said.
Yeah.
You're a very close person to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar.
I'm close to all of them, actually.
No, but you are...
I'm a spokesman.
Yes, so...
For this campaign. Yeah.
Let's speak as someone who I would like to speak to you and get your response as someone who has insider information, who has ears, and who knows the mind of Mr. Atiku Abubakar. Okay. What is going on the inside? How disturbed is he right now? And perhaps you should give us an understanding. True or false, has he sent emissary to Mr. Wike?
Okay, I think the first thing that needs to be said, Sean, is this. The process by which the Electoral Act expects political party to file in the name of their presidential candidate and the vice presidential candidate being a joint ticket sometimes puts time pressure on people. It's the reason why most of our rivals next door have placeholders. If you think about it very well, you will know that it's all part of how tedious, tough the balancing usually is. In our case, we have resolved that matter and we have a stable ticket in Waziri Atiku Abubakar as presidential candidate and Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, governor of Delta State, as running mate. The brouhaha that is coming is as a result of that peak. Now, I've not heard anybody say the peak is not competent, relevant, able to add value. No. At best, people are discussing how the post-peak or just before the peak event should have been. And at the center of that is how the very respected Governor Wike should or ought to be treated. I would just say very simply that reconciliation is a journey. It's not one phone call or one visit or one person. No. You will have to do a lot of activities to bring everybody back on board. And I think that has commenced. How is the candidate feeling? You heard him put out a tweet where he said, I hear, I listen. We're going to unite the country, but we will definitely have to unite the party. The comments being given by governors, elected representatives, he listed a lot of our internal publics and said, we will unite the party. You heard the vice presidential candidate on the foyer of the Aso Villa where he had gone to visit his the man who is in charge of that office now, Vice President Oshibajo, and he said, these things are expected. The decisions in politics, contests can produce some of these nerves, but that we're used to it, we'll manage it and all that. And if you really listen to what Governor Tom was saying, at best he was just saying, we need to reach out to Governor Wike, we need to visit him and all that. And that's clear. And if you watch the body language of Governor Wike, he has been very quiet. He's not said anything to overheat the polity or to indicate one way or the other. And you know, Governor Wike is one of our most loved personality that Nigerians have come to love him beyond just being governor. His efforts at trying to be presidential candidate and all of that made him go around the country. So he probably connects more with a lot of our citizens. And he has a lot of allies and friends who he's been there for. He's kept his word, he's supported. And so people like him. And he throws up that issue. So I think that Atiku, His Excellency the Vice President, also holds him in very, very high esteem. It would have been easier if we were running some kind of pseudo-parliamentary system where you can have Vice President 1, Vice President 2, Vice President 3. Then all of our candidates that were shortlisted are eminently qualified. It's painful that a purely internal process that ought not to be the basis of discussion has found itself from the mouth of very high respected members of the party, including saying this is how the votes went and this is not how the votes went. It's not really nice.
Perhaps
because
reasons perhaps.
No, let me land.
Hold on. Because reasons perhaps the grievances they have is perhaps things did not go
their way.
Fairly.
It went fairly. Because it didn't go their way.
If there were votes, we saw what happened in the governors' forum when Rotimi Amechi and the rest were in the governors' forum, where 19 votes suddenly. You saw what happened.
No, that's not what happened here.
17.
What I was trying to...
the people who voted.
I hear you, but let me tell you...
14 voted for Wike and 3...
Let me try and explain why I said that was not really right.
So what, you want to react to what
the committee...
Hold on
a second. It's correct to some extent, but it's not exactly the whole truth. There are many committees set up. Aside the committee that you're part of, there are other committees you're not a part of. There are other publics that are consulted, that you don't even put them in committees. Are you going to put former leaders of the country, head of states and co as committee members? There are other stakeholder holders in the country. Many things go into this thing. So sometimes...
That informed Atiku Abubakar's choice.
Where that informs how you pick. It's not just about Atiku Abubakar, it's about Bukola, it's about Tinubu trying to pick. It's about Peter Obi, it's about anybody that wants to really give the thing a chance. You have to do a lot of consultation. If someone comes tomorrow and says, oh, they had a committee meeting, and in that committee meeting, I got 70, it's not the...
But is there a realization that there was a misstep?
No, I don't think you can call it a misstep. I think at best I can say high-level leaders of the party who were privileged to be part of some process ought to have understood that that process is not the conclusion.
Should they have subjected the situation to an election?
Ultimately, you're still going to have to shortlist people and pass to the candidate.
So, Mr. Shagun, I mean, should they have subjected it
I don't know the terms
to an election?
I don't know the terms of reference. And I think INEC was not there. So we can't really call it an election. At best, they would have...
I mean, because the question now, there's a larger picture, Mr. Shagun.
I know.
Is that if your party is not transparent enough to follow due process, how can Nigerians trust your party?
Yeah.
To even be transparent with it, because if you had an election of 17 people, 14 voted for and 3 against, and you went for against.
No, Sheung, I'm trying to tell you that you can only be part of one small group, and there will be many of such groups. The information is like saying that the information available to you and I is the totality of information available to a president. The information available to leaders at a certain level is far more than the ones that you're getting. And without taking anything away from the sensitivity of their feelings and the fact that, do you know, any one of those guys would be president and would be happy. You know the kinds of people we're going to choose from? We're going to choose from a Wike, we're going to choose from an Udom, we're going to choose from an Okowa, and we have to pick just one. Many things go into these choices. Some of it also could be just the candidate looking at everything and saying, okay, now that all of this is like this, mini, mani, mo, and he picked one. It's not an easy pick, but we have chosen one. We love the one we picked. We're happy about what he represents. We're confident that when we finally relax and everybody is back onto the train, we're confident that there's a very, very big role for Governor Wike. Governor Wike is not the type of asset you have in a party, and you don't get nervous if people tell you he's not happy. Why? He's very truthful, he's very transparent, he's very honest. He's a good party man. He's never left this party. So, but I'm begging you guys in the media, we have dragged this thing for too long. It's enough now.
Are we the one dragging it?
Yes. No, what I'm saying is that Autumn made an interview, okay, but we've dragged it for too long.
No.
Why am I saying this?
You know why I do not agree when politicians blame the media? Yeah. You have your problem in your party.
No.
We follow it.
I know, but look, if you ask us...
And what we do, our job, is to bring out whatever is happening to the larger public. So don't blame your problem on the media. When you guys are frustrated, as politicians are frustrated...
I like the way you're saying this, but listen.
Because now the question is, can you take it back that it's yours? It is not us, it is yours.
No,
it's your problem.
Hold on a second. I didn't say it was
because, hold on, the BOT, you saw what the BOT of your party said today, Mr.
Seun, the BOT said, we're working on this, we're going to unite the House, and you're still insisting that we're going to stand like where we were like a week ago? And we've been on this conversation for more than a week.
And they were begging people not to leave. If your crisis has not gotten to...
I think that the crafters of press releases, some of them are not like you. They're not experts in knowing what every adjective and every word will mean. The reality of the matter is that we are the only party that has settled its candidacy. Others are using placeholders. You don't even have any idea what kind of issues will be thrown up when they finally unveil who they want to unveil. So I'm trying to set a background that we don't just ruffle the water too much. It's not an easy decision.
Things are tough right now.
No, things are not tough. One will be chosen.
To the extent that there are possibilities of some governors even leaving your party.
Seun, when people say they want to leave the PDP, you know what I always remember? I always remember that at the end of the day, it's the Nigerian electorate that will vote. I don't want to lose any governor. I don't want anybody to leave our party and go to APC or even any of the other parties. But I always ask myself, what exactly has been the role and the recognition of the ones that have even gone before? A great number of them have taken that plan, thinking that the grass is greener on the other side, and they've been stranded.
No, but you know what happened? The last time people left your party
when was that?
In 2014.
In 2014,
and your party lost
all of
the
those,
election.
most of the ones who left in 2014 came back. Why? If they had enough accommodation, then why are they not there?
Including Atiku Abubakar.
That's not the point. The point is that all of them, most of them who left are back.
Now, so-
And those of them who went to form another party, they gave us a great thing in this country. Let me tell you what they gave us. They gave us the alternative of a pan-Nigerian party. And we have two now. They're not compelled to stay there permanently, haven't done that job. They're back. So we cannot like have two parties. The ones that have been jumping from pillar to pole, has it really increased them? And then when you're even thinking of somebody that would jump, you will expect a dutiful, committed PDP man to be happy that you are even mentioning jumping with Governor Wike. You know who he is? He's one of our big people who gives a lot to the process. So people should please let us relax on this matter. Our ticket is now settled. We have a joint ticket. We're happy with the peak. We'll manage everybody on board. There are many positions. Sometimes I ask you, what's vice president really? The vice president is not necessarily the biggest person or the most powerful person in government. The president is. After the president, power can be elsewhere.
I like the way you're trying to downplay.
No. You had an Ngozi in this country as the coordinating minister of the economy. She was very powerful.
But let's move on quickly to other issues.
Okay, thank you.
You know why Nigerians are interested?
Why?
I'm very critical about what is happening in your party.
Because they want us to win.
I'm not sure that is
That's what I get.
That is the total picture. Nigerians are more critical about their nation. They want a Nigeria that works. And whoever wants to be the Nigeria's president and the party that wants to rule Nigeria, Nigerians are critical about how they even administer their own affairs. And that's why tonight we're going to scrutinize some of the things that you guys are doing in your party. You've not answered the question whether or not Mr. Atiku Abubakar sent emissary or even dialed a phone
let me tell you what I can say on that. No, we're not going to send, Atiku Abubakar is not going to send a child to do a man's job. The business of reaching out to Governor Wike is purely his. And except for the fact that Governor Wike traveled, and they're in different parts of the world, it will be his to do. And he will take care of that. People, other members of the society, members of our party, high stakeholders, may on their own try to say, oh, we are also party leaders, let's jump in and all that. That can happen. Nobody can stop anybody from doing that. But this bulk will stop on Atiku and Wike's table.
So the BOT says he's going to lead, and is he ready to do that?
I can guarantee you that His Excellency Atiku Abubakar is well aware of what is coming up and what the people are saying, and he's taking in all these comments. And he has done a measured response that I hear you will unite. And I tell you for free, no man can be going on an agenda to unify Nigeria if he would not put in all the work required to unify his party. We'll be fine, and Wike will be on board in a very big way.
I understand that you guys wanted him to be your director of...
Yeah, speculation.
No, I said I hear, and I'm asking you.
And I'm telling you that you have to wait until we announce. Some of the reasons that got us into this mess was that even before the vice presidential candidate was unveiled, social media and media was awash with, they picked somebody, and it turned out it's not that person. And then, you create all this unnecessary bad blood. You need to relax. You need to wait. The party will always announce. We've done the primaries, we announced. We've picked a vice presidential candidate in Okonwa, we've announced. When we tell you this is what is happening next, we'll announce. We don't mind the entertainment, we don't mind the conversation, but we are aware that these conversations are, on the high side around PDP because nothing is happening with the others. You don't even have the name of a vice presidential candidate to interrogate.
It's a new world now.
Yes,
where
placeholders.
Information is not...
Yeah, we're placeholders.
Hold on, I'm not even talking about that one.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the fact that if you're worried about how information flies from your party, in fact, from the...
Everywhere, including the CIA.
It is a fact that it's a new world where information is now.
Yeah, that's why we always let it not be fake news,
Yeah, let me show you this dimension. Perhaps I'd like you to react to it. And this is coming from a former governor of Ekiti State.
Oh, Jesus, Infantry.
And, how would you describe him like that?
I just did.
Why?
Well, because...
He's a leader of your party.
No, relax. I have been in and out of that party for a while. I know how we took him to Buruji Kashama. I drove. And if he's there now, I know that the elections are done. We've lost an election in Ekiti. He may be a little bit uncomfortable. He's always acted like he's not sure where he wants to say. He's using adjective that suggests that he's, feeding into our local and all that. That's like annoying. If you're upset in the party, follow the Wike model. He's been very quiet.
I don't think it's fair to tag him the way you have
Well,
tagged him.
it's an adjectival gymnastic to represent someone who sometimes always has, too many of these issues.
All right, let's say on the issue that he has raised.
What has he raised?
He tweeted and said, the current president of Nigeria is a two-term northern presidency, thus implying that it must be a southern presidency in 2023 or nothing. Our south, Lokon, meaning in Yoruba, we're next in the south. Nigerians should await details soon. He went further to tweet to say, the PDP constitution provides for a rotational presidency. Section 3, subsection C provides that the party shall pursue its aims and objectives by adhering to the public policy of the rotation and zoning of party and public elective offices in pursuance of the principle of equity, justice, and fairness. Okay. How do you react to that?
Thank you. He's aware of the Kerimadu report, which says we'll do 8 years rotation. We'll be rotating every 4 years. That came up as a result of the fact that anybody who has been elected has a right of first refusal because we have second 2 terms. So you can do 2 terms. So he knows we have an 8-year rotation. He's aware of the autumn report that said we'll leave it open. You see, I do not like leaders who have profited from a platform and become even more than they really are. Now probably don't have their way and all they're looking for is to pull the platform down. Ayo is wrong. We all took a decision that we're going to leave it open. And when we left it open, the forms were sold to everybody, including him. And we went to a transparent primary you were there. The votes were counted. You never can tell. It may have been a different outcome if all the statutory delegates were. It just so happened that the new Electoral Act limited the number of delegates. We counted. It was close. Article 1, Governor Wike came second. Some other people came. Ayo got 0. It doesn't matter that he had his own Ekiti delegate.
You're referring to Governor Ayo.
Yes, he got 0. And we still didn't think it was a big deal. We just felt, okay, the primary didn't favor him now. Ayim, Senate President Ayim was there. A few others. People were there from the North Central, Bukola Saraki and co. People were there from the far north. Everybody, because we left it open. Okay, how do you expect us to read the result when we had counted it and Atiku had become the winner? Are we supposed to say, oh, now that Atiku has won by the delegate, we're not going to stand by that? It doesn't work that way. So I expect people to know. And besides, there's a little hypocrisy there that I need to point out. I'm being very serious. If we had been of the view that it was a southern time in PDP and APC, we would never have been discussing a southern time rather than saying it's a southeastern time. So you can't buy forms in the southwest. You can't give solidarity to your southeastern brothers. Some other people have won in the big parties, and you're coming out to say, how does biology coin? That means in Yoruba language, in English, is it your turn? Yeah. You had Obasanjo of Southwest for 8 years. We're just about now doing Osinbajo for another 8 years. Are Yoruba people the only ones in the country? What about south. The other bloc? What about the North Central?
South.
When it says that, I know it's just playing to the ground. Which South is on the ballot now? On the 2 big parties. And if he wants to leave, you can desire that a man like him should stay. But if he's going to be today, he's greeting us, tomorrow he's doing our local, their slogan, next week he might as well go. We have done a Ekiti election. We came third underneath his watch.
On a final note, Mr.
Don't be final yet. We have too many other things to say.
No, because of our time.
Okay,
now, the question is that, as it stands right now, there's somewhat an implosion in your party.
No.
The race has not even started.
You don't even know PDP.
No, that's
You've seen us go through.
What we've seen today is what we can talk about. What will happen in the future is only in the realms of imagination.
Just because we're a political party.
Now, tonight, give Nigerians an understanding of how your party stands in the eye of the public. And within the race, if you look at it, the larger picture is the interest of Nigeria. Your party cannot even hold itself together. What trust can Nigerians have in your party? 8 months before the election, the party is
let me explain. Luckily, we have enough time. Campaign doesn't even start until September. Elections are in February. That's more than enough time for many things to happen in politics, including people to even jump from other places to us and all that. I wish they weren't jumping about that much, but there's enough time. The other thing is this. You must let us focus on the issue before us. The issues before the Nigerian nation now is clear for all to see. You need a team of leaders who value education. I can boastfully tell you that PDP does value education because we started universal basic education that all Nigerians are enjoying. We have two candidates in the president and the vice president, the joint ticket, both of them very heavy on education. Nigerians today are very worried about security. Our leaders are not sparing anything to figure out the best way to bring this to bear. The other thing is that Nigerians are disunited. Most people who are quarreling don't even understand that perhaps what has tilted it even away from others to Ifeanyi is because of that name Ifeanyi. And it might have been our bending backward over to make sure that people of Southeastern extraction don't feel left out. Look, politics is the act of negotiation. And you have to also see that, look, between now and the next election, everybody can say what they want, but we know, you know PDP, you know about life abundant, you know we like people, you know we're pro-Nigerian, you know we like unity, you know we try. How are you going to compare us with who? When you start to compare us with our rivals, you just understand that you're basically talking about us because we're the real deal.
Mr.
And we're the ones the Nigerian nations are waiting for. And I want to tell you, Atiku Okonwa, they're coming. They'll fix the mess.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shagun Shomi.
Totally my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Online, they will call you articulated.
Yeah, okay, that's all right. They'll call me Atikowa. Atikowa.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shagun Shomi, a PDP chieftain. We'll take a break, everyone. And when we come back, there's an increasingly larger conversation or very heated conversation that is happening online. And it's about a possibility of alliance between Kwankwaso of the NNPC and Peter Obi of the Labour Party. Is that going to happen? Next on the program, we'll be speaking with Senator Robbie Kwankwaso, our presidential candidate of the NNPP. And the idea is a Kwankwaso and Peter Obi alliance is still in the offing. We hear from the horse's mouth. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Increasingly, the possibilities of alliances and coalitions by some political parties and persons for the 2023 presidential races getting traction. Some of the personalities and parties are talking about joining forces to fight their ways through a stronghold held by the APC and the PDP. Just like we have seen in past election cycles where the presidential race have always been a 2 or 3 man race, it appears that the race might be a bit more intense and highly competitive, and possibilities of a 3 or even 4 major contenders emerging due to some of the dynamics that continue to emerge in the past days. The contest has begun online, although the elections are still about 8 months away. With the manner in which the online battle are going on, one would think the elections are this weekend. If you're not a bat, you will be unarticulated. If you are neither of those, you'll probably be unobedient. That's what they call themselves, or in fact, a Kwankwaso. Well, the NNPP and Labour Party have been talking. Peter Obi and Senator Robbie Kwankwaso appears to have had conversations, but what that relationship might birth is still very vague because we don't know the details. But tonight, let's speak with the presidential candidate of the NNPP, a former governor of Kano State and a former Minister of Defense, Senator Robbie Kwankwaso. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very
much. I
know
you had a rough ride coming through from the airport, but thanks for making it tonight.
Thank you.
Have you agreed with Mr. Peter Obi on aligning or joining forces?
Thank you very much, Sean. Well, for now, we are discussing with so many people, individuals, groups, and even parties, and we'll continue to discuss with them, believing that at the end of the day, we should be able to come together with some people that together we can take the leadership of this country at all levels, at state and federal level. And I believe that's the situation now.
Yeah. Have you met? Because there was a time that I was supposed to meet with you before you joined the Labour Party. Have you since met with him physically since then?
Well, not yet, but our committee had the opportunity to sit down and do some discussion together. And I believe that it is highly likely that we are going to meet and discuss the issue of coming together to work as a family so that Nigerians will have an alternative to PDP and, of course, APC. I'm just coming from Gombe State. We have seen how people at grassroots level, not only in the south, but even in the north and everywhere in this country, who want positive change. And positive change is very important and very critical to our country. We have seen the situation today in terms of economy, in terms of security, in terms of education, infrastructure, and so on and so forth. And people, the voters of this country are yearning for change. And I believe we will only be fair to ourselves if we come together and work and bring out a real alternative for the people of this country. And I'm happy to say that even at the moment, the NNPP, even though very new in some ways, just about 4 months, but is everywhere in this country, even beyond our own.
You're on the ballot in several elections.
Not at national level. I contested in 2015.
No, I'm saying the NNPP. You're talking about the NNPP, and I'm saying
yes.
recently that your party seems to have been having some inroads.
Oh, yes,
and it's perhaps what Alhaji Buba Galadima was talking about, the ability for you to set up a structure.
Yes.
But the question is, are you optimistic about the alliance with Mr. Peter Obi? Do you think it will happen?
Yeah, well, I believe that it will happen, but I believe also that there are some challenges that we are having, especially from the side of the Labour Party itself, because there are so many influences, some on their side positive and even the negative side. We have a situation today where there are some people who are in other parties who are always also influencing the decision of that party, which I believe is not good for the party. I've just reading in the social media and even people very close to the party that the presidential candidate is very close to one of the leaders of the PDP, which we are trying to verify. But I think the source is very genuine. That is contact with him while he is in a party, the PDP, supporting the candidature of a presidential candidate from the north in that particular party. And of course, saying that the presidency must go to the south and the other party that's in our alliance. And that's really to weaken our own party. And,
so you see some war of attrition.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
So it's happening. And I mean, with all of this, you are hopeful that Peter Obi and Robbie Kwankwaso might be on the same poster, on the same ballot for the same party. But which party could that be? Could it be the NNPP or the Labour Party? Because now merger is almost impossible now. You probably will use either of these political parties. Would it be NNPP or Labour Party?
Well, my belief is that there are so many modalities that can be worked out to work together. It's just a matter of getting the right caliber of people to sit down and look at the situation as it is. Now, you see, the major issue as it stands today is the issue of who becomes the president, who becomes the vice president. And I believe this is the time really to advise, especially those who are positively behind the candidate of the Labour Party, that this, for me, I have seen an opportunity for the Southeast to be relevant in the next dispensation. In NNP, in PDP, they are completely out. So also in the APC. The only opportunity now is the NNPP. Now, we are aware that in the social media, a lot of work is going on. The young men and women, especially of the Southeast extraction, are working towards getting a presidency. But the fact remains on the ground that even the entire zone, any zone in this country, decides to vote for a particular person, that person, going by our constitution, the provision in the constitution, cannot be president. And I think the constitution was deliberate to ensure that everybody is involved in the country. And I believe that it is in the interest of the Labour Party and the NNPP, and even in the interest of this country, because we have seen a situation today where many people in the Southeast believe that they are being marginalized. And it will even be worse, actually, if they are not involved in the 2023 project, because LP, as it stands today, certainly it cannot win election.
Really?
Oh yes, it cannot win election.
You cannot win a presidential election.
Not
Why
in
do you think they
2023.
cannot?
Well, because mainly the support is mainly in particular zone. There is just no spread, and the figures there cannot earn anybody presidential seat in this country.
But they're saying that they have the workers, the labor behind them.
Well, maybe you don't know the history of the labor itself. We tried to be in the labor when we were sourcing for a particular party. After INEC told us clearly that it was not willing to register any party between 2019 and 2023, the party was actually factionalized. If the labor is there, of course, and the labor is the union, is all for all of us, especially the NNPP, because we are the people, we are the party that actually is sympathetic to workers in this country. I was a civil servant myself for 17 years in Kano. So ordinarily, if not because of what I'm doing now, I would have been a retired officer myself. This is the situation as it stands today.
Now, you are afraid of a fifth columnist within the Labour Party. Is it the major reason why you are not, why things have not come to fruition?
Well, I believe so, and I think the Labour Party and, of course, all the supporters of the Labour Party, especially my good friends and brothers, people of the Southeast, I have a particular, in fact, many reasons why I personally, as Rabi Kwankwaso, is sympathetic to the Southeast. And I think the relationship between the Labour Party and NNPP will cool down a lot of issues in the Southeast as it stands today, because that's the only way the Southeast can be relevant. We don't want a situation whereby a particular section of this country would feel that it's being marginalized. And already we have a lot of tension there. And this tension is not good for the Southeast. It's not good for the country. We have a situation today in this country where in that part of the country, Mondays, the whole zone is being shut. So many people are being killed. So many businesses are being wasted, and so on and so forth. And that is why I take this opportunity to say that the leaders at that level should think positively so that this marriage can work. They should avoid talking to the people. You know, in this part of the country, we have at least the person the people are talking about in the social media and so on and so forth, who pretends to be very close to Peter Obi himself, while everybody knows he has a political party. He is promoting the person in that political party in the PDP, yet pretending to say, look, we'll want president to come from the south, especially the southeast, while we had somebody from the south.
Who is this person you're talking about?
No, we don't want to have to go to that details now, but the details will certainly come very soon.
But Mr. Obi needs to be weary of such
I think
a
he should be concerned because he himself believes that he's very close to him. And he is misleading him. He's misleading the Labour Party and so on and so forth. So I mean, you see, the idea is if this marriage works, for example, with Obi as the president, the implication is his own candidate in the PDP will be the biggest beneficiary, because the North today, you see, the way we operate politically in this country is not very clear to many people. Fortunately, the northern voters have always got their own opinion. And it is hardly influenced by any elite or anybody we can think of. For example, if you look at the issue of the case of Muhammadu Buhari, over the years, the northern voters decided that it was him. And even when the elites, most of the elites didn't like him, they still don't like him, but they made up their minds over the years that any time we had an election, he will have certain votes from the northern voters. And these northern voters, again, have made up their minds on what to do.
Right now?
Oh, yes. There is nothing, nobody, no
Now,
elite.
have they made up their mind? Who are they hoping to vote for?
The northern,
Yeah,
certainly NNPP. Nobody can change it.
I mean, you say you do. How did you know this?
I'm just from going around the country, and we have our structures everywhere. And that's the situation. Now, you see, the game plan was to make sure that Southeast is not involved in this project. And the implication is that now is double-edged sword. If, for example, anybody, I'm not particular about Peter, anybody from the Southeast, under this circumstance, will be very difficult, really, for voters, because they have made up their minds.
I mean, so if you look in the way of someone like Kingsley Moghalu, for example, which people are talking about,
Who?
I mean, Kingsley Moghalu, the former deputy governor of the Central
Yes,
Bank,
yes,
are you considering him too?
No,
Because we were
anybody. You see,
hearing
we are
that-
open. We're still up to 15th of this month. You see whether Dr. Moghalu or my friend Peter Obi or any other person from the Southeast. Now, I believe that will be very happy. And even anybody from the South.
So you're hoping to pick a running mate from the Southeast?
That's my choice.
Okay.
Things being equal, that's the choice of our party. Because you see, we'll solve
Or
a lot of
maybe
problems.
they're even thinking that you might be the running mate to Peter Obi?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is what the enemy outside there is saying. The implication is that if you put somebody from the Southeast, unfortunately, there are many issues in the Southeast. You see, northern voter is the worst hit on this issue of maladministration in this country. But even under that circumstance, a northern voter also believes that he is better with one united Nigeria. And therefore, most of the things that are happening in the South, especially in the Southeast, people are not comfortable with that. And as long as you have somebody from there in any party, it will be very difficult for the northern voters to vote. And that's the situation now. And those workers who are against, in the actual sense, working against LP, Southeast, and so on, what they believe is if you put anybody under this arrangement from that side of the country, the North voters will not vote. And who will they vote? Their own candidate in the Southeast, I mean in the North.
So, can you or would you be a running mate to Peter Obi?
That's what I'm saying.
Would you like to be as a person, personally?
Ordinarily, you see, I'm jobless now. I'm not doing any job.
So
to become a vice president
you can
is a big
be a
thing.
vice president,
But what I'm telling you is that if anybody from the Southeast now under this circumstance becomes the presidential candidate of our party or any other party, the implication is that because of the activities and many other issues that are real on the ground, northern voters will certainly go for their northern candidate in another party.
So the thinking is
So
that...
the thinking is that it's not whether I like it or I don't like it. The fact remains that
the numbers,
everybody will lose. The number, he will lose, I will lose.
So
we don't want
if
that.
Peter Obi is coming to join you, it will be your running mate.
That's as long as you want to vote from the North, that's the situation, fortunately or unfortunately, today.
Is this the reason why you said Peter Obi cannot win without you?
No, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is that any zone, no zone, even the Northwest, where I come from, which has got the biggest number of voters in this country, and they are very much willing to come out en masse, more than ever before in this country because of the realities on the ground. Before 2015 election, there was close to nothing in terms of banditry, people who are being killed, houses and properties being destroyed. It was not there. But in the last 7, 8 years, we had all these issues on the ground. So certainly you will have so many people, many millions of votes are coming out of the Northwest and even in the North, because people are concerned. It's not only a particular section that is concerned, because people are worried. People are angry with the situation on the ground, and therefore people are willing to come and vote. We have seen a situation where we have a lot of mobilization from a particular zone or zones of this country. And as that action is taking place, there are also a reaction from all parts of this country, especially from the north. People, the young men and women are registering themselves even in the north, and I'm sure they will continue to do that, especially with the increase in terms of number, in terms of days that were given by INEC. So you see, people will come out and vote, and they will come and defend their vote. And we are happy the president has signed the electoral law, which will make it a little bit more difficult for people to go and rig an election the way they did in the past.
So, I'm very sure that you are quite familiar with what is happening online. There is a popular saying now that obedience is better than sacrifice. Have you heard that?
Well,
and those are the campaigners for Peter Obi.
Yes, people are campaigning, are saying so many things. And you see, in politics, as you are making, pushing up something there, it causes a reaction. And you see, that sort of campaign, I hope people will look at both sides of the equation. The situation that we are today and the way people are campaigning, especially based on ethnicity, based on religion, it doesn't help anybody. What we want in this country is politics. What we want in this country is anybody who can come and bring the country together. The way we are operating now is not in anybody's interest. And people, especially politicians, are even worsening the situation. So my prayer and hope is that people will think positively. We are not campaigning based on religion.
All right.
I'm not campaigning based on my ethnic group or anything.
So,
and anybody who is doing that, I can assure you, no matter how many of them in terms of religion or ethnicity, it will fail. And that's the situation on the ground.
So, your confidence now, maybe you can wrap up on the issue of your possibility of alliance, is your confidence is, should you have a Peter Obi on the ticket with you, on the ballot with you, you are likely to win the election. That's what
certainly the chances will go up because we have seen the Labour Party and the candidate himself, especially in the last few months, so many activities are taking place, especially in the social media you mentioned.
You think that the presence is not really on the ground, it's on social media?
Ordinarily, though some of us who are infantry on the ground, under normal circumstances, we are not worried about people up there. But the point is, a lot of sentiments are going on. And I'm personally worried, very much worried, even about the security of the country. When people are talking, are campaigning in places of worships and so on and so forth, it triggers a lot of reaction. And it creates a lot of problems. It divides the people rather than uniting them. I am in politics, not trying in any way to divide this country. What we want in this country is democracy based on realities on the ground, based on development, peace, stability, and progress of the country. Now, anytime we go back to our religions, our zones, our ethnicity, and so on, it creates a huge tension.
You mentioned the issue of security. You're a former Minister of Defense. You're from the northern region of the country. The northwest, your region, is badly hit by banditry. And the thinking in some people's mind is the sitting president is from the northwest, as yourself is a former military general. Do you feel Nigerians trust the confidence that comes from those who think and say that they can fix the security situation in the country? From the experience that we've had in the past, when you say you have a solution to it, how can people trust you?
You see, as we always say in NNPP, and I believe the people of this country, especially the voters, the masses, the telecows of this country, we all believe that PDP and APC have failed. I was there in the PDP, I was in the APC, I have seen the way they operate. Certainly, that's why we have the issues on the ground. Our military, our security agencies are people who are well-trained, capable enough to handle such issues. But unfortunately, over the time, we have a leadership that did not keep their eyes on what is happening in the country, not only in the area of security, in all other areas. And that's why we felt that if we continue like this, it's just one way to serious
But do you have a solution?
Yes, of course, the solution is there.
What is the
solution? Is simply to ensure that our military, our security agencies are well kitted, are well supported in terms of arms, ammunition, and all what they require. Leadership should ensure that everybody is carried along, so that at the end of the day, intelligence can come not only from the people who are paid to do it, but from the society itself.
A presidential candidate has said he will relocate to Sambisa Forest to quench the insurgency situation. Would you be thinking of that kind of move?
You see, you don't relocate. What can you do as what do you call him, president? You see, you can visit your troops where they are operating. You can give them all what they require. But if you relocate to Sambisa to go to do, what do you do in Sambisa? Are you trained to go and fight or to do what? But visits, yes. Support, yes. Training, retraining,
will you seek foreign assistance?
And their welfare also.
Would you seek foreign assistance to help us fight?
Of course, we don't live, nobody is today living as an island. No country is living on its own. We have to work with our friends. Our friends are all over the world. They are willing at any given time to support us because, you see, we live in a small world today. It's a global village. What is happening today has an implication elsewhere and vice versa. So we have to work with our friends.
Would you use mercenaries?
We can use anything. Everything. We'll put it on the table to look at all possibilities. You see, what we have to do in this country is to do whatever we can to stop this mess. All these killings, all these fights, all these divides, Yoruba, Igbo, Christians, Muslims, all these things we have to come. And you can only come if you engage everybody. If everybody feels the government is free and is fair, and so on and so on. So that's what every president should do. Unity of the country, peace, of course, education, and so on and so forth, so that everybody can be involved in building our country.
Senator Kwankwaso, so we just have 30 seconds to go. And in these 30 seconds, I would like to ask you, sometimes what you know does not scare you as much as what you don't know, the fear of the unknown. Bola Tinubu doesn't have a running mate just yet. They say he has a placeholder in temporary position, Masari. Now, the thinking is the kind of profile and the pedigree, you know him very well. Are you afraid of what he brings to the table against you in 2023?
You mean to Bola Tinubu?
Yes.
No, you see, all these two parties, just people are sick and tired. It does not matter. It could be Tinubu, it could be any other person in a PDP or APC. I can assure you the good people of this country are sick and tired because the parties have failed.
You will beat them? That's what you're saying?
Of course. You see, this our party is just 3 months. Now you mentioned we have 8 months. Many people are counting 2, 3 states. Some will even say NNPP is in Kano. Some will say in the Northwest. Now I'm just coming from the Northeast now. And I was in the Southwest. I was in all other parts of this country, in the South, and so on. So I can tell you, every person in this country is looking for a way out. All these two parties have failed. And we saw that long time before now. But every day, more and more people are understanding that these parties have nothing to offer to Nigerians.
Senator Robbie Muso Kwankwaso, the presidential candidate of the NNPP. Thank you so much indeed for coming.
Thanks a lot.
Tonight.
Thank you a lot.
And I wish you the very best.
Thank you. Thank you
very much. Should you agree or decide on your alliance with Peter Obi, do let us know. I will hope to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimberley. Bye-bye.